Top story in politics. Keir Starmer is facing a fresh backbench revolt over controversial plans to overhaul special needs education.
Well, there are reports that ministers are poised to scrap the system which ensures that pupils with special needs such as autism and ADHD get personalised support at school. But senior party figures warn the reforms risk becoming welfare Mark II.
Now, all of this comes as the government is facing mounting pressure to balance the books on public finances, but with millions of children potentially losing legally guaranteed support, furious parents and campaigners are fighting back. Is Labour steering towards another internal clash?
Well, joining us now is former political advisor Oscar Reddrop. Good to see you this morning, Oscar. And this is controversial, isn't it?
It is, and we're just going to see this, though, time and time again after that welfare vote, revolt within the party. Ultimately, it's backseat driving. I mean, we have number 10, number 11 are being backseats kind of driven by their backbench MPs in the Labour Party now. And it's interesting because, I mean, in fairness to the Education Department, I mean, these reforms don't have any meat on the bone as yet. And yet already campaigning MPs and campaigning organisations are getting their punches in early because of just how soft the underbelly is now of number 10 and number 11. And the real difference is, because I remember with Boris, these kind of moments and days where your political capital and your goodwill is just being drained. But you've got to remember, there was a personal loyalty to Boris in 2019 when he got all those MPs elected. It's quite evident, wrongly or rightly. I have a bit of sympathy for Keir Starmer on this, because it was only a year ago that he won this huge landslide victory for all these MPs. There's clearly no loyalty or love towards him or Rachel Reeves, and that puts them in a really, really difficult position. What I would say, in terms of controlling your narrative, your message, the issues of the day, I mean, do we really, after that welfare bill, do you really want to be taking on children with disabilities at this moment in time? I mean...
This is a good thing, Oscar, you're talking about here. I often look and I say, why is he picking a fight there? Why is he choosing a battle there? He doesn't have to do this. No one in their right mind could believe what he's trying to do is popular. So why the heck do it?
This is the really depressing answer, Eamonn, and I think we all know it's coming. We all know it's coming. The Labour government, because they're quite powerless at the moment, have in many ways run out of ideas. And so I think this is they're scrabbling around trying to find savings where they can. This probably isn't going to be palatable, and so it will be tax rises. And that's just, I mean, at this point, that feels inevitable.
But like you say, if they thought that taking money away from disabled adults was bad and that rebellion was bad, imagine how it's going to be when you've got the same sort of plan but with disabled children. I mean, backbenchers just won't stand for it, will they? And now they've got a taste of rebellion. What does this mean for future votes or anything that's deemed to be controversial?
Absolutely. So as a result of that, the general direction, what we are being steered towards now is these backseat driving Labour MPs to the left of the party, or, traditional Labour values, and they're saying, no, you can't cut money, you can't make savings there, we won't let you make savings there, tax rises. Like, that is where the left of the Labour Party and those backbench MPs, who are the ones in power as we sit here now, ultimately, that might change if number 10, 11 have a good few weeks. But as we sit here and now, they are driving this government towards tax rises. And in fairness, and I wasn't a huge fan of him, but Rishi Sunak, he feels like complete ancient history now. He called that before the general election. Certain political parties, they revert to type when they lose track of ideas and they lose their imagination and goodwill. And when Labour revert to type, it is you pay for things by raising taxes.
Right, I'm talking about paying for things, all this talk, we've no money, we can't afford this. I don't know what bill is associated with this latest educational matter, but 100 million quid to Syria on Friday, suddenly there was no problem finding that, was there?
Yeah, it's a very good point. And the Reform Party, elements of the Tory Party, and oddly in the intersect of it all, parts of the Labour Party believe that actually, home is where we need to be concentrating on more than ever. And actually this idea of shelling out and kind of foreign aid, even though the Labour Party made noises around it, I think brought and pledged to bring it down slightly. I mean, when we are penny pinching at this moment in time, and inevitably those tax rises will come, but market, our taxes are going to go up with this Labour government. Things like that will really stick in people's throats, for sure.
And what do you think we're looking at, Oscar, in terms of those tax rises? Because Rachel Reeves has really boxed herself in, hasn't she, with previous promises that she made. Do you think she'll stick to them?
No. And I think, without going back to last week and the difficult position she was in, well, there it is. I think part of that, what you're seeing on your screen now, personal, professional, all mixed together, but part of that is probably because she knows she's in between a rock and a hard place of the sword in her back amongst her backbench MPs if she doesn't hike taxes. And the electorate, who were promised at the general election, don't you dare touch my taxes, the tax burden on my back is eye-wateringly high. And she's caught in between those two immovable objects.
But what was the promise they made? Not to raise taxes for hard-working people, which always implies that if you earn 100 grand a year, you're not hard-working.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I always found Starmer's working people this, working people that, just unbelievably cringeworthy. Like, who are you to tell someone if they're working? Whatever, they need to stay away from that as much as possible. But I think we'll hear less and less of that now as they roll the pitch for the inevitable tax rises that are to come.
OK, Oscar, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks,
Stay with us and we'll speak to you again after 7 o'clock. If you've got a question for Oscar or if you have a point to make, remember, have your say. That's what it's all about. And we'll reflect that as the show goes on.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cybercriminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GBNews discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GBnews to start protecting yourself digitally today.
We've got Christopher Biggins and we've got Dawn Neeson. Very nice to see
Morning.
you both.
Good morning.
What a treat on a Monday morning. Lovely. Dawn, should we look at the Telegraph and start with Labour exploring a potential wealth tax?
Yes, well, this was, politics at the moment, as you know, Ellie, is completely and utterly mad.
Yeah.
Because it was only at the weekend we had Keir Starmer denying that they were considering a wealth tax. And Move On a Day at the Telegraph today are quoting an interview with our... who's it with?
Lord Kinnock.
Yes.
Lord Kinnock, yeah.
On TV over the weekend. It's been a long day already, hasn't it, Biggins?
It has.
Can I just tell you?
She was at Nana's engagement party last night with
I know, you see.
Late night, Dawn?
No, but we had a car crash getting here this morning, and Biggins, not us personally, the car in front of us had a car crash.
Oh, no.
Sorry, this is really dull, everybody. And Biggins' taxi didn't turn up, so I've literally just walked in the door. It's raining outside. So, in any case, back to the story. So it's nothing to do with a hangover. Any case, this was, over the weekend, this was denied, but now we have, yes, it's going to happen. 2% tax on assets worth more than 10 million, which could help raise 10 billion a year for the Treasury. which we all know is needed after the U-turn on the benefits. But it can't happen. I mean, it basically can't happen. We've already had, no one really knows for sure, but approximately 16,000 very wealthy people leaving the country. Yeah. If you put additional tax on wealthy people, what they could do, they're just going to leave.
There'll be another fresh exodus.
We've been here before, haven't we?
But a lot of people are going to say, well, why do we care? It doesn't affect my life. I live in a council flat in Huddersfield or whatever. Why do I care if they leave or not?
Because the economy dies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the 10% of wealthy in this country pay the most tax. If they're not here to pay the most tax, there's no tax going into the system.
Well, one man who's in that position paying so much tax because of his wealth is Christopher Biggins. But, you know, it's funny how people make out always that the older you are, the richer you are, and that you've no financial worries. And yet I would put it to you, Biggins, I mean, you and I know each other personally. I assume as you get older, you worry more about money. You worry about, will you be able to afford a carer? Will you be able to afford a care home? Will you be able to afford just being looked after in general? And there are demands on whatever money you have.
Absolutely. And I not only worry about myself, but I worry about friends. Too, because I just think, you know, it's an extraordinary... As you get older, there now seems to be so many elements against you. You know, funny enough, as getting older person, you don't need certain things. I mean, how many microwaves do you need? You don't need them. But there's other things that you do need. And also, like, for instance, one of my stories later on is the Labour revolt over special needs help.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the demands on the government are huge now. And, you know, you can't just ignore these things and you just can't throw them away. You have to help the kids that need the help.
If you look at the papers today, a cross-section of the papers, they've all, to a single paper, even the Daily Star, they've all got stories in there about the autumn statement and where the money is going to come from.
Yeah.
The benefits U-turn has left a 4.65
Well, I'll tell you where the money's going to come from. This makes me quite angry. Why give £100 million on Friday to Syria?
Yeah.
Now, we can sit and have the argument about it and whatever. Point is, the country can't afford it.
No.
We can't afford it. The taxpayer can't afford it. So what the heck are we doing it for?
I agree totally.
Question.
I mean, you're absolutely right, Eamonn. I mean, it's ridiculous.
There doesn't seem to be money for pensioners. We are now also talking today about raiding pension pots. Yeah. They've U-turned on the winter fuel payment, but now talking about raiding pension pots, pensioners paying more tax because of fiscal drag, etc. The PIP payments, people with disabilities being taxed more, losing their benefits, going future.
And that doesn't even... Another thing that annoys me is that you look at... cancer care centres, hospices and whatever, and they have a massive proportion of what they do, they have to fund themselves, right? Why the heck would a hospice have to fund itself? I think it's absolutely scandalous, ridiculous. The whole care situation is broken, yeah.
Well, the trouble is, too, that we are... I mean, normally, I'd be dead by now at the age of 76. I mean, that would be the norm. But I'm not. I'm alive and I'm living and I'm having a good time. So that... But why should I be persecuted for being older?
Well, you won't be because you don't have 10 million quid in the bank. So
no, that's very true.
Yeah, so you could argue... although Dawn thinks these people will just get up and leave the country, and I don't see any reason to argue with you.
Well, I mean, we don't know for sure, but I mean, supposedly 16. I mean, I know at least 2 people that have done so.
Yeah.
My former boss has moved to Dubai, lock, stock, and barrel, sold up here and gone.
Do you know, I've been looking at things recently about Dubai, come and live in Dubai and whatever, and never would have thought about it. And I sort of think, why not? You've sunshine, you've got a whole...
No, you can't. It's a horrible place.
Is it?
Oh, it's vile. You wouldn't like it.
OK for a holiday?
I don't think it's even OK for a holiday. There are other places I prefer to go. I think it's soulless. Oh. It lacks so many things, you know, and cost... It's mind you, the whole world.
The whole world.
You know, we've just been to New York. New York it smells, it's a thing coming up later, it smells of cannabis in the air. It's the hotel rooms are a minimum of $1,000 a night. Theatre tickets are $1,000. Restaurant, everything is expensive.
You see, now you mentioned that cannabis thing. This is front page of the Daily Mail today. And it's saying the smell... Police are saying the smell of cannabis is a sign of crime, right? and they're saying that senior officers have told this newspaper that the drug's stench can make even them feel unsafe, and frontline officers should do something about it. I don't think that's unreasonable.
Not at all. And I mean, certainly in New York, I haven't been to New York for a long time. You couldn't believe it. You get out of a taxi and the stench is there because everybody's. Every corner you can go and buy drugs in New York.
There's lots of parts of London that are like that, though.
Well, yeah, exactly. They are. I mean, it's becoming like that.
Yeah, even first thing in the morning, I live in East London, where I live, you walk out the house and people are smoking cannabis openly.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there were, I think, 10 police commissioners recently who wrote to the government saying, you can't decriminalise cannabis. We have to consider putting harsher penalties on it. Meanwhile, in London, you've got the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, suggesting it should be decriminalised.
OK.